He made his first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man 252. Venom was initially attached to Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. The symbiote made him stronger than he already was, which is pretty incredible. But before the symbiote bonded with Peter, it briefly attached itself to Deadpool. When the symbiote bonds with somebody who already has powers, it can be quite the show. But if you don't have powers and the symbiote decides to leave you, well, you could literally get left mid-air. Like Angela Fortuna, for example. Now, because Angelo didn't have any superpowers to begin with, this probably didn't feel too good when he landed. So today we'll be counting down some symbiote hosts who could pack a punch already. I'm Taylor McWatters, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Here are the top 10 most powerful symbiote hosts. Let's do it. Kicking off the list at number 10, we have Dr. KARL MALUS. Dr. KARL MALUS was always interested in the subject of superhuman powers. Ever since the earlier days of seeing the Fantastic Four in the newspaper, he became obsessed. Got a degree in biology from the University of California. He was brilliant. So brilliant that the guy himself turned Sam Wilson, Captain America, into a werewolf. You heard me. But in Superior Carnage issue 2, the Doc got an upgrade himself. His merging with the Carnage symbiote allowed him to walk again, which is miraculous, but of course he can also transform into the supervillain as well, which is always a fun side effect. Number 9, Deadpool. So before the black suit found Spider-Man in the Secret Wars storyline, the symbiote briefly bonded with Deadpool. But this isn't the only time Wade Wilson has come face to face with a symbiote. In Deadpool vs. Carnage issue 3, we get a much more violent take on this situation. After battling Deadpool, Carnage and Shriek got out of town, but Deadpool was able to track them down, following these clues until eventually he found the pair driving down the highway. So Wade crashed into their car, injuring Shriek and making Carnage very mad in the process. So when Wade finally catches up to Carnage later on, he's ready for the attack. After he rips Wade to pieces, Wade ends up piecing himself back together, but this time with some more symbiote goodness. And before we go on with this list, if you guys want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be great. It really does wonders for our channel, especially while we're working from home. So we thank you so much for your support. Let's get right back into this list. Number 8, Matt Gargan. He first entered comics in Amazing Spider-Man issue 19, and in the next issue, he was branded new enemy of Spider-Man, the Scorpion. Now, he's a former private investigator hired by J. Jonah Jameson to find out just how Peter gets those A1 photograph of Spider-Man. But he is Spider-Man, so that was never an easy task. It wasn't working, so Jameson paid Matt 10 grand to have this experiment done from Dr. Farley Sitwell, and Gargan then turned into the Scorpion. Good times. Egghead recruited Scorpion for the Masters of Evil, but after they were captured and released, Egghead didn't come back to recruit Matt again. That's a little rude. That's a bit rude if you ask me. He's Scorpion, he's still pretty good. But down the road, Norman Osborn recruited Scorpion and was ordered to kidnap Aunt May. But during this mission, the symbiote found him and they connected through their hatred for Spider-Man and they ended up bonding. He joined the Thunderbolts as well in issue 110, and the government outfitted the symbiote with electric implants to keep him in line. He worked for the government first as a rehabilitation program for criminals, and then he joined on the more popular Thunderbolt roster, Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers. Number 7, Black Cat. Venom wanted everything to do with Spider-Man from the beginning, starting of course with his love life. So in Amazing Spider-Man issue 316, he went after another close acquaintance, Black Cat. We see her lost in a train of thought as she realizes that her and the spider should be together. And then in comes Venom just to ruin the whole vibe. Venom attacks and figures that she must know where he is, although she actually doesn't. But before Venom heads out, he casually mentions that Parker's wife didn't know where he was either. Adding insult to injury, literally, in a sense. But Black Cat got an upgrade herself later on in Venom issue 159. The Maniac symbiote took control of her briefly, but luckily this didn't last too long as she was able to break free from the Inklings. Although they do look like a fun time, Black Cat's better as Black Cat. Number 6, Red Hulk. He made his first appearance in Incredible Hulk issue 1 as General Ross, but come the first issue of volume 2, Ross gets a little bit of an upgrade. He becomes one of the Hulk's greatest threats. He becomes the Red Hulk. Now the Red Hulk was created using gamma radiation, just like Bruce, but what makes him even more of a threat is the fact that this guy also has cosmic rays added to that aggressive mix. The Red Hulk doesn't get stronger the more angry he gets like Bruce, he actually gets hotter. Yeah, he turns into Ryan Gosling after too long. No, he gets stronger in anger, he burns up, physically he gets hot, and then makes an absolute mess. He's already a monster in this case, but in 2011's Venom issue 13.4, Red Hulk Ross was sent to retrieve the Venom symbiote from Flash Thompson. But when the Red Hulk got close, he turned into this. He's a Ghost Rider Venom mashup, which some would consider a pretty bad idea. I'm one of those, that's way too much. So loud too. I look at that photo and I'm like, man, that's gotta be loud. Number 5, Carl Danvers. In 2010 Siege Spider-Man run, we meet up with the Avengers, and at this point, they've gone to Asgard to take back the world from Osborn. Now Spider-Man of course joins the battle, which is great, but he's doing more of a groundwork type scenario. He's not up in the sky, he can't fly, so he's working stuff out on the ground. The fight begins above Broxton, Oklahoma in Asgard, and Venom is just laying waste to everybody at this point. And then Spider-Man comes in with the quips, and then after falling down to Earth, Carl Danvers comes to the rescue, reminds Peter where the fight truly is. Up there. He says he's more of a Street Fighter guy, that the Avengers are better off in the sky, and then when Carol asks about Venom and how his powers come from the suit, she goes for the impossible. She straight up shoves her arm down his throat, and once the symbiote is free, it then attaches itself to Carol. And then we have this ultimate badass creation. Venom loves it. He says Carol is his new favorite superhero. Flying does have its perks, I'll admit. Number 4, Groot. I am Venom. I am Venom. A family favorite when it comes to the MCU is of course Groot. We catch him as a clumsy adult in the first Guardians movie, then we catch him as a clumsy child in the second Guardians movie, and then by the time Infinity War rolls around, the little dude became a teen, even giving up his branch to create Stormbreaker. But a version I hope we never see on screen is Venom Groot. Now this happens in Guardians of the Galaxy issue 21. The Guardians trap the symbiote in after a daring mission with Gamora, luring it out. Things are fine at this point, it's working, until Groot is asked to hand Rocket the thing with the thing on top. So Groot's like, that thing? With that thing on top? Sure. This seems to complicate things because Groot has no idea what he's talking about, so he grabs the symbiote and accidentally sets it free. And before Rocket even knows it, it's consumed Groot. Number 3, Peter Parker. During the events of 1984's Secret Wars, Spidey came across a symbiote while on Battleworld. In issue 7, Spider-Woman makes her grand entrance. And then Peter Parker reacts in his usual manner. I mean, one of his first thoughts is to sue her for infringing on his shtick. Fair, more than fair. But he clocks that she just tossed a boulder as easily as he could, which is strange, because he's a superhero. In the next issue, he gets an up-close personal look at this new black suit Spider-Woman was rocking. And now we have a new costume for Spidey. How lovely is that? He feels great, he feels stronger, quicker, he's even impressed by the mechanics of the suit's ability to change. So while it all seemed like a perfect aid in this massive battle, Peter questioned why this new suit was so different. Why was it doing this? Oh well, he says, and then he returns to Earth with this new suit that just happened to activate his Spidey sense. Okay, that's a smart move, I think. And we all know that was much more than a new suit. You gotta leave things where you find them, Pete. The suit made Peter harder, better, faster, stronger, sure, but in the plot of Spider-Man 3, we also saw Peter start to brush his hair to the side and then aggressively be into jazz music. He's snapping and pointing at people on the streets, all aggressive like. You can't let the symbiote mess with your head. We have a whole movie that explains why it's a bad idea. Number 2, Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer made his comic debut in Fantastic Four issue 48. Back in the early 60s, Norrin Radd is one of the most noble and tormented cosmic entities in the universe, born on the planet Zen-La, part of an extremely long-lived, technologically advanced humanoid race. He was already quite impressive, and then in Amazing Spider-Man issue 430, he becomes the Carnage Cosmic. Just dangerous, look at this guy. Now Carnage has the ability to take out all that anger and frustration, but this time he can take it out on the entire universe. So look out, world, this guy's terrifying. And finally, coming in at number 1, Red Goblin. The Green Goblin, before we even get to the Red Goblin, the Green Goblin has gone toe-to-toe with Spider-Man numerous times, but when he combined powers with Carnage, things got super messy. He appeared for the first time in the Amazing Spider-Man 798. Norman Osborn stole the Carnage symbiote, and after that, hell broke loose. So the rare weaknesses that the symbiote did have went away once the two villains had merged. So if you think you can use sound or fire to take this guy out, well, good game, pal, think again. Green Goblin was fine with those things, so now he's gonna be fine with them again. Even the bombs that he throws are like merged pumpkin Carnage bombs, and they bite you. They have a face on the bomb, and the bomb can bite you. The only thing that can damage the Red Goblin is the touch of Agent Venom, aka Flash Thompson. But in this issue, Flash uses most of his ability to heal Peter's leg. So now Peter's our only hope at stopping Norman, aka the Red Goblin. Guys, those are just a handful of powerful symbiote hosts, some scarier than others, that's for sure. But let us know in the comments who else you'd love to hear from, that we can get around to those as well. We love hearing your suggestions. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. Thank you so much for joining us on Top 10 Nerd, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.